Hi, welcome back to My Mom Life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today we're making a banana pudding cake. Let's get started. These are the ingredients that we're going to need to make this cake. You're going to need a yellow cake mix, 2 very ripe bananas. We're going to need some pudding mix. I have this banana cream pudding, and if you don't have that or if you can't find it, you could use vanilla. We're also going to need some oil, eggs, and water like the back of the box states, and we're going to put this together just like the box says, except for we're going to add in the pudding mix and the bananas. So I'm going to start by adding my super ripe bananas to a bowl. I'm going to go ahead and mix those first so that I don't have any chunks going through my cake. I don't want a chunky cake. That does not sound good to me. I don't like cooked banana in chunks. That's just gross. So I'm going to mix up the bananas really well with my hand mixer, and then I'm going to add in the rest of the wet ingredients, so the eggs, oil, and water. Give it a good mix, and then we'll add in the dry ingredients, which is our cake mix and a box of pudding. Now, I only had 1 box of that banana cream pudding, and I needed a box for the filling that I'm going to make. So I went ahead and set that banana cream pudding aside and used one that I had left, which is a vanilla pudding mix. It was the big box though, so I used half in another cake, and you'll see me using the other half here in this cake. So you can either use vanilla or the banana cream in both the filling and the cake, but you want the normal size box, not the family size. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up those wet ingredients like I said, and then we are going to add the dry ingredients. I did beat this with my hand mixer for a couple of minutes like you typically would with a box cake mix. So you're going to see me mixing it here, and then I am going to divide this batter in between 2 round cake pans. I have them lined and sprayed so they're ready to go. My oven is preheated, and we're going to bake this according to the box directions. Just follow the box after you add in the bananas and pudding mix. That's the only difference here. So I'm going to divide this batter up evenly and then bake these cakes. Once they come out of the oven, they need to cool completely, and I like to actually pop mine in the freezer so that they get super cold. That helps when you're decorating your cake from crumbs getting into the frosting. So that's a tip that I have if you are decorating this, to go ahead and stick your cakes in the freezer. It'll just make your life easier, I promise. If you wanted to do this in a 13x9, you totally could. It would just look a little different, but you definitely could do that. Now that my cakes are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and make the pudding filling. So I have that banana cream pudding. I'm also gonna add in a can of sweetened condensed milk, and we're gonna use some milk to help bring it all together. So I'm gonna pour my pudding mix into my bowl. I didn't follow the directions on the back of the pudding mix because I wanted this to be super thick. I did not want this to ooze all over the place and just kind of melt into my cake and make a mess. So I kept this pretty thick, and I added 1.5 cups of milk and then my sweetened condensed milk. Once I got that all mixed together, I popped this in the fridge so that it could set completely before we used it. So this is a good thing to make while your cake is cooking. Like I said earlier, if you have trouble finding that banana pudding mix, you could definitely use vanilla pudding here. You're just not going to get that banana flavor, but that's okay because the bananas are in the cake. It's still going to be a delicious cake. So I'm going to get this all mixed up, add in the sweetened condensed milk, mix it a little bit more, and then pop it in the fridge. The last thing that I needed to make before we assembled this cake was the frosting. So I'm gonna make a buttercream frosting. I used 2 sticks of butter and half a bag of powdered sugar, which is 16 ounces of powdered sugar. And then I added in a little bit of vanilla extract and some heavy cream to thin it out a little bit. And that is how I make my typical buttercream. If you wanted to do a cream cheese frosting on this, you totally could. I wanted to keep it simple and just do plain old buttercream. So I'm going to whip the butter for a couple of minutes. Once it's nice and light in color, that's when I add in the powdered sugar and vanilla extract. And then if you need to thin it out with a little bit of milk or cream, go ahead and do so. And then it is time to throw this cake together. This is absolutely delicious. One more thing that we are going to use is some vanilla wafers, because that is key in a banana pudding, in my opinion. All right, it is time to assemble this cake. My cake layers were in the freezer, so they're super cold. I'm gonna go ahead and put one on my little cake stand here. This is my container that I always put cakes in. It's not the prettiest, but it works. I did put some of that buttercream into a piping bag. I'm gonna pipe a border around my bottom layer, and then I'm going to fill in with that pudding mixture. The pudding mixture is pretty thick, so you may not have to do this, but just in case, I wanted to have a buttercream border so that the pudding didn't just ooze out all over the place. So as you can see, this is really thick, and that's exactly how I wanted it. And I'm gonna use a little over half of it in the middle of our cake, and then I'm gonna top the cake also at the end with some of this. So I'll set the other aside and go ahead and spread out this layer of banana pudding. Once I get it nice and spread out, I'll go ahead and put the top layer on and then ice it with the buttercream. Now that I have my cake all frosted, I'm going to take some vanilla wafers. I had about half a bag, which was perfect. I actually didn't even need the full half of a bag. And I crushed them up. You can crush them up in a Ziploc bag with a rolling pin, or you can put them in the blender. That is what I did, my little magic bullet thing. And then I went ahead and I put the vanilla wafer crumbs all along the side of my cake. This is gonna make a little bit of a mess, but it's totally worth it. And actually, it helps cover up any flaws in your frosting technique. So I kind of like it. So I'm gonna put the cookie crumbs all around the side, and then I took it over to the sink and kind of dusted off all of the extra because, like I said, it will make a little bit of a mess, but it's totally worth it. Once I got the cookie crumbs on, I went ahead and piped some little rosettes, I guess you could call them, all along the top border. And then I added a few more cookie crumbs on top of those. And then I put the pudding mixture all in the middle on the top of our cake. Once I was done decorating the cake, I went ahead and stuck it in the fridge to completely set. And here is the finished product. I think it looks absolutely delicious. It tasted so good. My husband loves banana pudding, and he said that this cake tasted like a professional made it, which was a huge compliment. Thank you. But it was super easy to throw together. There are a few components that you have to make, but nothing is difficult to do. And I highly suggest making this. I will type the recipe out for you in the description box if you want to make it. It's easy because it is just a box cake mix that we're just doctoring up a little bit, and it turned out great. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, hi, welcome. I hope you subscribe and stick around, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye, guys.